So here's a good question to discuss and ask yourself. As a professional detailer, what do you do if the customer has a limited budget, but the vehicle requires more than the budget will allow? How do you handle that? Do you refuse the service, or do you give back something that isn't to your standards? I mean, your name is on it. I don't necessarily want to put before and after pictures when it's not to the caliber of work that I want. How do you handle that? Well, today we're going to discuss that and share with you guys how I handle cleaning a super dirty vehicle with a limited budget. Let's get started. So just to give you guys some context, I have a home-based detailing business. I've been open for almost 9 years, and this has been the hardest and slowest winter season I've ever had for detailing. Normally I stay consistently busy, so because business has been so slow, when a customer reached out and said she wanted to get this cleaned, but only had about a $200 budget, I accepted it knowing that we're not going to necessarily give her the level of work that a full detail requires. But when I opened up this inside, I immediately knew I was kind of screwed. There's a lot of work that's required with this one because we've got, one, a ton of dirt, and also impossible carpet, and sometimes the work requires the work. You can have shortcuts, you can have hacks, but at the end of the day, how do you handle a lot of soiling like this in a difficult situation when the customer is digging their heels in saying, I only have so much money that I can pay towards it? What do? Do I turn away work when at this point I'm just trying to get any kind of work? Or do I compromise my standards and try to meet the customer where they're at? Sometimes that can work out, but sometimes that bites you in the butt. As detailers, this is all a hard topic that eventually we have to address. Today is that day. Normally, when a customer schedules a basic maintenance, that is for a newer vehicle or a vehicle that has been recently detailed within the last 45 to 60 days. Not this. And I reiterated with the customer, I normally would not even allow the customer to pick this service, but she was kind of borrowing this car from her mom and wants to get it clean to return it back to her. She understands it's not going to be to the level of a full detail. The hardest part is going to be me fighting myself, my OCD, wanting to go further than what the customer is willing to pay. And so that's where, with my ADHD, my tendency to hyperfocus, and my OCD, I'm going to set timers. So if the customer's budget is X amount of dollars, I know typically what my hourly rate should be, but it's all about using the right tools, using the right chemicals that are going to expedite a end result that I can at least be happy with, that the customer will be happy with, where I don't feel like I'm just like cleaning one section really good and be like, well, that's all the money could give you. We're going to try to get everything, for the most part, clean. And honestly, for someone like me, it might not be sufficient, but to an average customer, they might say, you got it perfect. It's fine. It's fine. Keyboard warriors, you can comment all you want, but until you're actually here having to detail the dirt, enjoy the video. Set a timer for 3 hours. One thing I normally request customers do is remove any personal items from the vehicle. That just allows me to be able to focus on cleaning the vehicle versus removing everything. So once we get everything bagged up, now we go ahead and pull out all of our mats.
Ton of dirt in those mats. Ton of dirt in these carpets. Wow, that is like, it's been there in that position for a while. Hopefully when I wet it, you can actually just see the dust coming up. Hopefully when I wet it and in the sun, it can go back to its normal state. We could also pressure wash these mats when we wash the vehicle, because there's just so much dirt in them, and that will again expedite the extraction process. So we'll try to get as much of the dirt, pet hair and sand off of them, and then we can extract when we do the exterior. Man, there's so much pet hair down here. Oh boy. Now, does this mean at the end of the 3 hours, if I'm not done, I stop? That's the hard part. That's where I've got to allot my time appropriately. I need 1 hour for the exterior, probably at least 1 hour for the vacuuming, and then another hour for me to do plastics, extract, leather, glass, all of those things. So these surfaces are probably gonna be the ones that don't get as much cleaning. Like even our cup holder, things like that, I'm gonna try to blow out how much I can, but I gotta get the big stuff up first. So let's go ahead and get the vacuuming. Please come up easy.
Impossible carpet is a detailer's worst nightmare sometimes. Imagine if carpet was a curly, frizzy, knotty, tangled mess. That's what this carpet is. And it can hold all of the dirt in multiple angles. So you could go over the top and get a majority of the dirt, but there might be sand, pet hair, pine needles in deeper layers of the carpet that sometimes you have to individually pick out each bit of dirt. You can use a blowout tool, but sometimes it's actually not the most effective on this type of carpet. I actually find a stiff brush like this can sometimes get the dirt deeper within the fibers better than a blowout tool. So first, I'll do a quick pre-vacuum and also fluff the fibers with my stiff brush. Then we can come in with our blowout tool. Now, I was hoping that a majority of whatever was dusty on this vehicle would blow off without me needing any sort of additional tools, but a lot of it is kind of stuck on. So we ended up using a work stuff chemical resistant brush and kind of dusting and blowing simultaneously. And this will actually speed up the cleaning step when we get to cleaning all of our hard surfaces, plastics, leather, because I've been able to blow off anything that is kind of stuck on. When I come in to clean with my chemical, all I'll really be removing is anything sticky or stained. We'll also use our stiff brush and our blowout tool to get a deeper blowout from our carpet fibers, and then we can come in and vacuum everything up that we've now blown out. I know a lot of you freak out with the idea of a blowout tool thinking you're making a huge mess, but you can see you can control where you're blowing the dirt. And we're going to start in the front and blow it backwards. And then when we get to the back, we're going to go from the back to the front. Being able to blow out our mats, you can see we're getting a huge amount of brightening. And you can even blow out the backs of your mats just to help bring dirt to the surface. We'll use our stiff brush and our blowout tool later and then vacuum our mats before we extract them. But there's just so much stuck in dirt and debris in these mats that it's going to be stubborn and it's going to be a challenge. Even though a customer may say, I don't really care about getting 100% of the dirt, just do a quick vacuum. There's no such thing as a quick vacuum with these types of carpets and this level of dirt. Recently, I had a CX-9 that had worse carpets than this and worse soiling than this, and I spent almost 5 hours vacuuming out the vehicle alone, using tools like this, blowing out, agitating, vacuuming up. And I had another detailer actually critique my work, saying I took too long vacuuming, that my issue was that I actually used too many tools. So my question would be, if you have impossible carpet and heavy level of soiling, what tools would you use that would actually expedite the work? Feel free to critique, but let's be kind. Share what works for you guys rather than just say you didn't do it properly. But I'm curious for feedback. In a situation like this, what tools or equipment or processes would you use to tackle a heavy level of dirt like this, but give the customer a quick result? Would you blow out first, then vacuum, even if it makes a huge mess? Or do you do a quick pre-vacuum like this, then blow out? Let me know what you guys would do in a situation like this down below. Even though I've been detailing for 9 years, I'm always learning and trying to become better and more efficient. There was a really high sidewall on this vehicle that unfortunately, even if I tried to blow all the dirt out, it would have just kicked it right back into the vehicle. And there was so much dirt crusted in this carpet, or it almost resembled like cradle cap. And I just had to almost pick out every little bit of dirt. This is where I'm struggling with my OCD and wanting to just keep going. And I'm like, okay, keep moving, keep moving. All right. So I've been vacuuming for 48 minutes. I have 12 minutes left to finish up these other 2 sections. So we're gonna actually start in the back, push the dirt forward. We did the trunk off camera. The biggest issue with this section is that they must have spilled something, and this really resembled poop. So I should have gloves on, but I don't because it's super hot out, and I don't want to touch this.
I don't wanna touch you, 'cause you might be too good on the line. 'Cause my brain can't take it anymore. So many straws. Still back here.
Normally when you have spills like this, and I'm thinking this was like a milkshake or something of that kind of consistency, when it dries, you can scrape off the crusty top layer, but this stuff is not budging.
We're extracting our mats. I don't really want to extract the carpets, but we do have a few spots that are like really sticky. Not necessarily sticky, but they're thick, whatever they are. So we're just gonna hit them with some Nanomax. This is plant-based, green-friendly cleaner, no scent, no odor. Cleans really, really well though. What I want to do, where's my brush? I'm not going to extract. This is an end cap solution, and so it will, basically any remaining residue will come up in future vacuuming. But I can actually just kind of surface clean and then bonnet clean these spots. And I don't have to break out my extractor, deal with wet carpet. And it doesn't have to be like 100%, but it will be a huge improvement to what it was. We got all the stains up. Super quick. Alrighty, last section, and just might be the worst. Oh boy.
Altogether, it took about an hour and a half for us to vacuum out these carpets. We didn't get it to 100% of the dirt removed, but we got it to what I feel like is an acceptable level that I don't even feel like we need to extract our carpets. All we really need to do is focus on our mats. But this took up a lot of our time and a lot of our budget that now I'm starting to stress about how we're going to finish it.
So there's a part of me that wants to just call the customer and say, your budget only allows for me to do the interior. And you can very well go that route. That's the hard part sometimes when you're dealing with a limited budget, and for the most part, that is what I would tell the customer. You don't get to kind of dictate to the business owner. You don't go to a mechanic and say, I need my timing belt changed, but I only have the budget for an oil change. Make it work. You're going to end up with, well, an incomplete job and a crap job at that, and half the time the mechanic's just going to laugh in your face and say, honey, it doesn't work like that. And there are moments that when I'm in this situation where I am pushing myself and I'm saying, why am I letting the customer tell me the services when I'm telling them I know what is required to get a vehicle where it needs to be, where my standards say they need to be, and your vehicle is going to require more than that. Why am I okay with saying, all right, I'll give you less than works? And that's the hard part. I'm even kind of talking myself out of doing the exterior at this point because the budget is so limited. It's basically covering an interior. Can I decrease what I give on the interior to maybe give them a very quick basic exterior wash? I don't know. You can have a decision at the beginning of a detail, and then once you get into it, just end up saying, you know what, it's not worth the stress or the struggle with my kind of expectations and standards, and then you run the risk of having your name on work. What if a customer comes back and says, takes pictures and reviews it and says, they missed a spot? Well, you didn't pay for that level of service. Is it worth it? I'm torn, guys. I'm really torn in this moment.
So I took you guys' suggestion. I know you guys, you haven't seen this video, so it's like, what did we say? We didn't say anything, Chelsea. We're just watching this for the first time. I feel like I know my viewers, at least how they dialogue with me well enough that as I was talking to myself, I was realizing I don't need to let the customer dictate to me what services I do for what prices. There are times that customers say, I don't need a full detail. And so I have created a basic maintenance for those customers that don't need that deep level of cleaning. In situations like this, I feel like customers are going to pick and choose the cheapest package possible, but not necessarily understand what their vehicle requires, and then limit me with what I should do, can do, because maybe they have a budget. So I did call the customer and I said, listen, you had a $200 budget. Normally a level 1 interior starts at $250 to $275. That includes shampooing, that includes leather being cleaned, all the plastics deep cleaned. That's really what she should have had for the interior. And I probably would have added on excess soiling because of the time required. But at the end of the day, I did say to her, because of your budget, with what I've done already, Like, there's not much more I can do. I can't do the outside. I can maybe do a quick wipe down of plastics and leather, but it's not going to be detail cleaned. I just got like the bulk of the dirt vacuumed, blown out. If you want the exterior, if you want a little bit more cleaning on the interior, we're going to have to add on some pricing. Focused on the areas that needed to be focused on the carpets and our mats. Exterior, that was one of the things that she was most concerned about. She wanted to get all the maple whirlies, the brake dust, all of that stuff clean. Even when I said, we don't need to do the exterior, she's like, well, how much more to get the exterior? There's a lot we park it under a tree. It's pretty dirty. So just giving you guys a little bit of that update, how I'm handling it. I feel like I handled it okay. And I feel like hopefully the customer is going to come back and we've been able to give them the end result that I think the vehicle needs, trying to stick to their budget, even though we did have to increase it. But I'm working with my customers, trying to keep things as close to their budget as possible. But at the end of the day, a detail is a detail. And again, you don't go to a mechanic and say, I need you to change my timing belt, but I can only pay for an oil change. They're going to say, what do you want me to do? So sometimes that's my biggest frustration is I get some rough vehicles and customers not understanding labor, taxes, chemicals, tools, all of those things that I have to pay for. I might charge $75 an hour, but at the end of the day, I'm not getting $75 an hour because I have to pay for all those other things. So business owners, right? So I just heard back from the customer and she said that they just want to do a hand wash on the exterior, and they are fully aware that on the interior plastics, leather, they're not going to be deep cleaned. We're just going to do a very quick wipe down of them. But frustrating that it does limit what I can do. So again, we're going to set a timer, and don't judge me. I might actually have to use a brush to wash this. We'll use the perfectly safe brush, but that can expedite the exterior wash, and I guarantee you the customer's taken it through the automatic car wash many, many times. We're going to do foaming pre-soak. We're going to do a quick wash with the perfectly safe brush. We're going to do spray and rinse type product, get it dry, throw on a tire dressing, call it a day, so that way we can just get quick results. Since my goal is quick, we're using Chemex Heavy Duty to clean our tires and wheels at a 1-to-1 dilution ratio. We're also testing out the new Viking Plus Car Care Wheel Brush, which, sidebar, we'll do a dedicated review on very shortly, but absolutely love that brush. Go buy one now. We're also going to touchless clean all of our door jambs. They had a lot of sticky stuff all over the metal and a lot of leaves and just debris. So we're using Yum Citrus at about a 5-to-1 dilution ratio just to help loosen all the dirt. Then we'll pressure wash those. Sometimes pressure washing can leave behind just a little bit of overspray on your plastics and even your carpet. That's why I always vacuum before I do this step. But any overspray that we get, we'll use a microfiber to wipe up, and that actually might help clean the interior a little faster. After tires and wheels and door jambs, we're going to foam on Chemex Old Glory. This is a higher pH active foam. This is going to be the critical step before we use our brush to clean the paint. I definitely don't want to introduce a brush to a dirty panel, so I'm removing all of the gritty, heavier dirt with our foaming pre-soak. This gets, I would say, 90 to 95% of the dirt and film off of the paint. We're going to let that sit. And while that sits, we're going to get our wash bucket and brush ready. This thing is so freaking soft. If you're going to be using a brush, you want to make sure you use a soap that has a lot of lubrication within it. And this brush was actually designed to be used with this soap.
Oh, a little too many incredible suds.
I'm going to give this a really good rinse. This is where I was kicking myself in the butt for letting the customer choose this particular package, because there were so many maple whirlies along the drains and in every nook and cranny that it just took so much more time than a hand wash requires normally just to get all of that dirt out of there, because if I left it, it could have scratched the paint.
So we had a ton of maple whirlies all over this thing, and I'm still like finding some in all the nooks and crannies, but we are not doing a full detail. So we got majority of the dirt off. Now we're gonna go ahead, we have a little bit of soap left in our foam cannon. We're just gonna re-foam it just to give us some cleaning, some lubrication, and then we're gonna use our incredible suds and our perfectly safe brush to clean this paint. So for those of you that want to write hateful comments, get your keyboards out, because I know you're gonna come at me saying, how can you use a brush on a customer's vehicle? Well, I'll show you how. And maybe a little bit, so we're not going crazy. And go.
Now, I don't use a brush like this every time I wash my customers' vehicles, but if I see that they go through the car wash and there's already a good bit of damage, this is actually far safer than any brush they've seen at the automatic car wash, especially if you're using proper foaming pre-soaks and proper soaps.
Holds a good bit of soap. Most brushes don't do that. And we're using common sense. Start at the top, work our way down, so that's going to be the dirtier sections at the bottom. And we are rinsing our brush after every panel.
I know brushes can cause a lot of anxiety for people who are afraid of scratching their paint. And as detailers, we've kind of drilled it into our customers not to use brushes. So I'm curious, for those of you who have been using this brush, share your experience down below. How has this brush been on your vehicle long term? Since we've already spent too much time vacuuming and getting all the debris off of the vehicle, I'm going to try to use a product that will hopefully speed up the wax process.
So this is protector wax from Koshemi. Smells a little bit like bananas. This might be overkill. Look how quick that works.
Now, this is a water-activated product, and as you spread it, you'll see kind of a white foam as you're pushing the product over. Then your protection will kind of kick in with nice beading sheeting. But some of these spray and rinse products can create streaks or high spots, and some of them can be pretty stubborn and aggressive to remove. So I am seeing a little bit of that, and I'm nervous.
Hopefully what I'm seeing on the paint, I can remove when we dry. Well, fingers crossed. This might have backfired on me for quick and easy. Okay, cool. Comes off when we dry the vehicle. Does it? Yeah, we just need a really wet towel. Water removes it. Not liking that on our plastics. What is causing that? We've got some kind of streaks and some high spots just from residue, and that can happen, but I am not freaking out in this moment on the paint because it's coming off really nicely with just our drying towel and what water we have on the panel. Thank God I got a goat towel because it's super absorbent. It's holding a lot of water, but it's doing a nice job at removing whatever little issues our protector wax created with high spots. Ooh, bad on the glass. So, full transparency, protector wax did something to this trim that I am not a fan of. And this isn't included in the package, but I'm just gonna fix it. We're just using Trim Shine. It's just gonna put a little bit of oil. It needed it, period. But it's doing the job to get rid of whatever, I don't want to say damage, but whatever ill effect our protector wax had on our trim. You can see here, quick wipe undoes the damage. Our paint, for the most part, we got all of the speckled kind of appearance off. If I see it, it comes off easy with a towel. So it didn't do anything to our paint that I can't easily treat. But our trim, it ain't coming off with just a towel. So just wanted to be transparent with you guys, and I couldn't release it like that.
So now I feel like we are on the home stretch. One of the more critical things that I still have to do on this interior is to get our mats cleaned. We got a majority of the loose soiling up with our vacuum step, so we're just using our Nano Max, a drill brush, and our pressure washer since it's still out from us washing the vehicle. And we're gonna blast all the dirt out and then suck up with our Aqua Pro Vac. I'm not even actually rinsing with the Aqua Pro Vac, I'm just sucking all of the water out. So technically you could use like a Rip Clean extractor or even your wet vac to suck up all the water. But this is why the vacuum step sometimes takes longer for me, because I'm trying to remove as much of the loose soiling as possible. So that way the extraction step, all I'm really having to do is get the deeper dirt or any staining up. Pressure washing is a great way to very quickly clean heavy dirt out of your mats. Even our stitching, you can see, bam, instantly white. So this is just a great way to quickly clean heavily soiled mats. Now we're just going to leave these to sit out in the sun. They'll be dry in about 30-40 minutes. And you can even see our inserts. We were able to pressure wash all of those out very quickly, so that way we can get all the stuck on stuff up. Now all we need to focus on is doing a quick wipe down of our plastics, leather, and glass.
Okay, so we're down to the final wire, and just so that I don't have to fill up a bucket a second time, we're going to use Indo rinseless wash. We're first going to do all of our glass with our rinseless wash, and then we're going to, if we need to, increase our cleaning power at the end. Oh my gosh, Josh, that smells so good. Okay, don't need a ton, but you do need some, all right? I also have a Scrub Ninja. Maybe just give me a little bit of scrubbability, all right? And I need to get glass towels. Right. So we needed some glass towels. Got them. We've got some towels to dry our plastics and leather off, detail brush, blowout tool. We're just going to squeeze a majority of this out, okay? We got our, was that Mr. Twister? Super fast way just to clean glass. We had a lot of sticky fingerprints all over our glass. Rinseless wash is just a great way to scrub your glass and leave behind minimal residue. If you ever are struggling with streaky glass, dirty towel, or too much residue, rinseless washes, they don't leave behind a lot of residue, and they can actually make the surface more slick, so it just helps it to be easier to clean moving forward.
Once we're done cleaning all of our glass, we're going to up the detergency and cleaning capabilities of our rinseless wash by adding a splash of Quiver Pineapple APC, and we're going to very quickly wipe down all of our leather, our plastics, even our infotainment center. This is a great way to just keep up with maintenance on your vehicle. You don't have to go out and buy any dedicated cleaners if they're not too bad. So we're just going to wipe everything down, even use a detail brush just to get in all of the little tight nooks and crannies. And then we can use our blowout tool at the end, that any liquid left behind, any dirt that's left behind in those nooks and crannies will get blown out. And this is just a quick way to wipe down your interior and get everything looking spick and span. Since Indo Rinseless Wash does have a little bit of protection within it, that also is going to help put some UV protection down on all of our plastics, just to help slow down fading. We had a lot of makeup on this steering wheel and along our high touch areas, so our Scrub Ninja with our Rinseless Wash did a great job at gently cleaning all of those surfaces, getting the heavy dirt out of them. This is the critical area that I always try to focus on the most, because this is what the customer sees the most. But we're going to repeat this entire process on our plastics, leather, and glass, section by section, until we're all done. So after 4 hours, here is the finished result of our detail for our customer. We did have a limited budget, and the vehicle had a lot more needs than the budget allowed for. So in this moment, we focused on the critical areas to make sure that the customer got what they were looking for. But personally, I don't know if I would do it this way again. Next time I see a vehicle in this condition, I know how to approach that with the customer. And I actually have removed basic maintenances from the packages that customers can choose because of this very issue. This vehicle technically should have required a full detail and possibly would have had add-ons. You can see we still have some staining on our leather. It wasn't completely dialed in, but what she needed focused on, we did in this moment. It's up to you as a detailer or business owner if you want to let customers kind of choose a la carte what areas get focused on, but that can create some conflict if you have standards and an expectation of what your job should entail. Personally, I appreciated having the work and I didn't want to refuse it, but moving forward, I definitely learned a valuable lesson with this detail. I don't want to remove this service for customers that don't necessarily need a full detail, but I'm not going to let customers choose this detail if I haven't detailed their vehicle recently or it's not a new car. This is a decision that a lot of detailers eventually land at, and for me, I finally reached that point. So we are all done with our Nissan Rogue. Did I learn a lesson in this detail? Yeah. Coming back from struggling with work, definitely I think compromised a little bit on my price. Only lost probably about a half an hour of work. And sometimes you can just decide, I'm gonna do the nice thing. I'm gonna over deliver and under promise, but it's not something that I necessarily want to do every detail. We'll have a conversation with this customer that moving forward, the price is the price. If the vehicle requires it, I'm gonna have to charge it, or else we just don't do the service. So one of those things that as a business owner, you learn. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on a vehicle in rough condition and the customer has a limited budget? How do you handle it? Let me know down below. But if you guys enjoyed this video and maybe this topic, give us a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think down below. We're gonna put the link to all the products that we used in case any of you wanna try it out for yourself, as well as any coupon codes that we might have. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Business is starting to pick up, thankfully, as temperatures warm up. We're gonna be dealing with pollen pretty soon, so, but we'll see you guys in the next detail. Have a great day.